of July, Independence Day. All right, what's going on, guys? Houston Binkley is already in the house from 9:30 this morning. So anyway, this is FNGO's The Lunch Break. Appreciate you guys joining us. I know a lot of you guys are going to actually be out on the water, on the lake, doing whatever it is you're doing today and enjoying your holiday off. So we appreciate you guys tuning in. If you listen to this at a later date, whether it be on our YouTube page or on iTunes or Spotify, hey, we appreciate you guys as well. And again, don't know how many of you are actually going to watch today. But if you do, hey, we love you. So a couple of things. Guys, if you missed the live well last night, was that not an awesome show? What's up, DP's Fishing Misadventures? Happy 4th to you, sir. Yeah, it was an awesome show. Ryan Sheffield came on. We talked about jig fishing. You guys, if you didn't watch it, go back and check that out. For those of you on YouTube, you can go to on TikTok, you can go to FNGO and see all of our podcasts. We do it live every Tuesday and Thursday. And I'm going to see if I can pull my phone up and put it on TikTok just to see if I can pull up our live and get questions. I figure you guys on YouTube, a lot of you guys are going to be out there spending time with your family and everything. So, we appreciate it. Was watching the Braves, hoping they could win the rubber game. I'm telling you, the Braves are absolutely killing us. They're absolutely killing us. The bad thing about it is on paper, the Braves are as good as anybody. But, boy, I tell you what, for $50,000 a year in their per diem meal money, I'll go out there and strike out every time. I'll do that. So let's kind of get to what we're going to talk about today. I put in the thing, aliens, Bigfoot, Independence Day, and, friendships. That's kind of what we were going to talk about. But we're going to start off with on this day in history. On this day in history. You guys, there's a lot of interesting things happened on this day in history. So check out a few of these. In 1826, both John Adams and Thomas Jefferson died on the 4th of July. In 1826. What's the odds of both of those guys dying at the same time? In 1960, good Lord. So somebody has to text me right in the middle of the show. Of course, it's Kim Pruitt. In 1960, our current U.S. flag was adopted. In 1960, July 4th, 1960. So that's pretty interesting. And then 1996, we all need to thank. What's up, Brian Justice? We all need to thank you remember the movie Independence Day? You remember the Randy Quaid, the character he played in there, Mr. Case? So on this date, in 1996, he flew that spaceship right up the backside of the aliens. All right, and he saved us all from our world being destroyed. So we always want to remember Mr. Case from the movie Independence Day on this thing. And which kind of will lead me into the aliens thing here in a second as well. Now, how many of you guys plan on watching? Crazy things happen. What's up, Dave Raleigh? Listen, any of you guys actually watch that hot dog eating contest that they do on this day? What's up, John? John, are you at work or are you off today? In fact, in the comment section on YouTube, how many of you guys are actually at work? As soon as I get done with this, I'm closing shop and I'm going to go spend the holiday with my family and everything. But how many of you guys actually watch that Nathan's hot dog eating thing? One of the most disgusting things. He's out on the lake with the kids and the grandkids. DP watched it last year. There is nothing more disgusting than watching grown-ass people dip hot dogs in some kind of liquid and slam it in their mouth. And yet ESPN and all that put it on. So Joey Chestnut, what's up, Cam? Hey, congratulations, Cam, last night on your buzzbait fish. I'm proud of you. Old Joey taking down the dogs and the protester. He hasn't seen it in years, Dave Raleigh. Well, Joey Chestnut got banned last year for some kind of contract dispute. And, he'd been kicking everybody's ass. And so last year, the guy that won it, I forget his name, he ate 58 hot dogs. Every year that Joey Chestnut has been in there, he's never eaten less than 60. So unless somebody comes out of the woodwork this year I predict Joey Chestnut is going to get his mustard belt back. It's something like that. I don't even know what the hell they call it. But in 2021, now you guys think about this. In 2021, Joey Chestnut ate a record 76 hot dogs in the Nathan's hot dog eating contest. 76 hot dogs. How many of you guys eat 76 hot dogs in a year or 6 months or whatever? That's a lot of hot dogs. And just to watch him dip it, I think there's a technique where they dip it, it makes the bread wet, so the bread's not as hard to swallow. But could you imagine trying to jam 76 hot dogs? I think on the live well, for you guys on TikTok, that's Tuesday and Thursday nights at 8 o'clock on FNGO YouTube. But I think we might have a hot dog eating contest. I'd have to get the big boys like Sheffield, Jonathan Farmer, some of the other guys. I would represent the little guy, and we will see just how many. What's up, Nathan Owens? Hope you're doing well. Hope all you guys are doing well out there. And in TikTok land, hope all you are doing well as also. So last night on the live well, towards the end of the show, we brought up Bigfoot because Ryan wants Bigfoot to be real so bad. In fact, he follows all the YouTube pages, everybody. DP says the skinny guys usually kick the big fellas' butts. Ain't that the truth? That's the truth. Alex Purrs is skinny. If he joins us today, actually, he's at the parade in Cumming today. They do that parade where they bring out the old trains. Dave Raleigh says, of course he's real. Dave, you believe Bigfoot's real? So Ryan knows all the Bigfoot tricks. Ryan is Bigfoot, Nick B says. I know. So Ryan can do the call, and I cannot, guys, I can't even replicate the call. You'd have to stick something up my backside to even come close. But Ryan does the call. There's also a technique where you go out and Bigfoot apparently hits trees. He just takes a big stick and hits trees. So Ryan has done all these before, and I think if you go on his Facebook page, you actually can see. Tim last night said that the original Bigfoot footage from the 60s. Dave Raleigh says, I live in Vermont. He's around, I promise. So Vermont is home to Bigfoot right now. And John says, I like to think that there's still some mystery in the world. I hope Bigfoot is real. Really? That's interesting. So Tim said that original footage is actually a female Bigfoot, that one from like 1968 and all that. Brian Justice, years ago, I was accused of dating Bigfoot's sister. I'm more scared of hillbillies in the woods. Now listen, Nathan Owens, that's probably up in West Virginia, somewhere right up in there. You got to get up into the Appalachian Mountains a little bit more than we are here in North Georgia. We got some interesting people. But you got to get up there in the true Appalachian Mountains to definitely check that out. See if you can run into that, or you might bump into that family you've seen the videos that they've kind of inbred for the last 100 years. They're a little strange. But we also talked about that guy he's got the videos out that he was molested by Bigfoot. Not one night, but 2 nights in a row, which led us to the question, why in the hell didn't you leave after night 1? Hey, it is what it is. Maybe Miss Bigfoot was better. DP, I'm okay until I hear dueling banjos. Well, I'll tell you what, DP, where that was filmed is about an hour 15, hour 20 from the shop right here. And that movie, I tell you what, that movie Deliverance is a great movie, with the exception of that one scene that we all know about. That one scene right there, I don't know. Ken Pruitt, how long is the shop open today? As soon as I'm done, dog, I'm out of here. As soon as I'm done with this, I am headed to the house. The banjos in the middle of nowhere would be terrifying. Your TikTok live stream has no sound. Okay, well, I got the mic on, and I got the mic right there. I don't know what I'm doing wrong. So, Squid Billies, let's see. I mean, I plugged it in. I turned the mic on. Let me turn the other mic on and see if that works. I don't know. I did everything I was supposed to do, working on the sound. Yeah, it's not, for some reason, it's not picking up. You guys hold on 1 second. Don't go nowhere. I'm going to plug in another thing. Can you hear me now? Nope. Yeah, I don't know, guys. Oh. How about now? You know what, guys? Hey, it might help if I turn the damn thing on. So, sorry about you guys on TikTok. Just you guys, because I can't read the comments. The mic's too far. And then when I did that, it went off. So let me pull this one back out. So this is the one that's running on. Okay. All right. Sorry, TikTok. Fixed it. My bad. My bad. But hey, listen, Bait Cave Customs, thank you for letting me know. So anyway, now that we've got that fixed, okay, I'm just one guy. I'm here. So anyway, I want to know really if you guys believe in Bigfoot. Where does he live? Is there more than one of them? What would you do if you met Bigfoot out in the woods? What's up, Messick Outdoors? Happy 4th to you. What would you do? What would you do? And would you be like that guy on YouTube who went out there camping? Mrs. Bigfoot came, overpowered him, made love to him all night, and left. And he decided to stay in the woods and then came back and spent night number 2 with her. I don't know if he's in love. I don't know. Atlanta Outdoors is catching bass and tuning in. Where are you fishing from, Atlanta Outdoors? Be interesting to know. And Nathan Owens. See, that's what I'm saying. How can you take a guy seriously? Because he was like all sad about it. Like he was like, this happened to me. It was a tragic thing. Yet he stayed in the woods. Baby Bigfoot coming, I guess. But wouldn't you think you'd get the hell out of the woods after that happened to you? I know I would. 100% I know I would. There's just no way in the world. It's crazy on the water right now, Messick. Are you on Lake Hartwell? Are you up that way? And speaking of Bigfoot, because we all want that to be real too, we might as well just go ahead. Lanier South End catching more largemouth than spots. Hey, interesting, when I fished Latham the other day, 2 Saturdays ago, all the fish that I caught on the bank were spots. All the fish that I caught out there schooling were largemouth. It was the dangest thing. It was like total reverse because the spots were coming out of, I don't know, 6 inches to 2 foot of water. Bigfoot got a haircut. Hartwell is probably insane. Atlanta's throwing a fluke in Nico. Steve Sturgeon, happy 4th, everyone. I wonder if Bigfoots will ooh and ah over the fireworks. And that's another thing to think about. Because you're going to see Facebook get flooded from last night tonight, Saturday night, of all the people that have dogs, whose dogs are going to go crazy because people out there shooting fireworks. And I get it. It's a pain in the ass when your dogs are barking. And if your dog's got anxiety, whatever, I'm sure there's a pill or something that you can get for them. But you're going to hear that. But how does Bigfoot react to fireworks? Now, up in Vermont, I don't know if you guys are big firework people. I don't know how many firework displays are going on in the Appalachian Mountains, but it would be very interesting to know. But since we're doing on Bigfoot and in memory of Mr. Case, which, of course, was Randy Quaid flying up the backside of that ship. How many of you guys believe in aliens? Dave Raleigh says 2 of my dogs get scared. Yeah, mine bark some, but where I'm at, I have a Great Dane with bad anxiety. He hates them. What do you do? The Great Dane's a big old dog. That's a big dog right there. I swear I heard Dog Man in my yard last week at Atlanta Outdoors. Good Lord. I'll tell you this. When the coyotes start baying around in the woods behind my house, my dogs go crazy. But where I live, the big fireworks displays are a little ways away. I'd say the closest one is probably about 16, 17. Yes, there's a lot of aliens in America, Nathan. That's not what I meant. I didn't mind fireworks until having a young child and trying to put them to sleep. Changes it, don't it? It absolutely changes it 100%. And if you guys are commenting over there on TikTok, I haven't got the monitor set up to where I can read your comments, so I apologize. I'm not ignoring you guys. We're going to get all this worked out as we go forward. We do this show every day, 12 o'clock, 12 to 1, 12 to 12:45. And so we're going to figure out a way that I can read your comments. But we are technically challenged here at Fish North Georgia. Sometimes I am. Hell, I didn't turn on the mics. There's a product called Thunder Shirt that a dog wears, and it helps them feel better, helps them feel calmer. Okay. I did not, a Thunder Shirt. But where I live, it's generally Billy Bob and Sally Sue have gone over to South Carolina or the Walmart now that we can sell them a little bit. And they got them some. You hear those, you hear some gunshots, and that's the worst thing you can do is throw guns up in the, I'm all for guns, but just to shoot them up in the air. What's up, Doc Holliday? I started a little early too. You have to believe in aliens. It's even crazier to think we are the only ones in the universe. Dave Raleigh, it's a big place. Can't say I believe in aliens, but I do believe there is life outside our universe. Yeah, I don't know. And let me ask you this question. How come in the movies, why do we make the aliens ugly? What if we are the ugly ones in the universe? What if aliens are absolutely fantastically gorgeous or attractive beings, and we are to them like the little gray men? We're the ugly ones. There is infinite possibilities. There is, and I'm a believer, and I still believe there've got to be aliens. I think there's just got to be something else. Used to work for a tent company. We came to work July 5th, and someone shot through the side of the building, busted the glass boards we prepped the tent on. Good Lord. Came to work, broken glass everywhere. Yeah, I mean, it happens. It happens. Now, luckily around here, I live in the woods. There's a few houses around me. You got Latham Reservoir across the street, but not a lot of high density stuff. But I did have this Canadian guy move in next to us one time. Damn, Danny, I was accused of dating an alien years ago also. They're out there. I guess they're out there. Those shapeshifters or whatever they call. It's funny. We ain't going to talk nothing about fishing today. We're going to end up talking about aliens. What's up, Mike Geiger? Happy 4th to you, buddy. But I had a guy from Canada move next door. And there's a little place in my backyard that I can actually sight in my rifles. And it was, I don't know, August, right before deer season, right before fall and everything. So I was out, I've lived here for 20-something years now. I'd been there a long time. So I went out my backyard. And the way, there's a dentist that owns the land behind me, and he doesn't live there. So it's just his woods. And this guy kind of lives up towards the front of my property. So I'm sitting there doing what I've done every year for the past however many years. Boom, boom, boom. And all of a sudden I hear this guy scream out of the woods, "Hey!" And so I'm like, okay, what's going on? This guy walks out of the woods. First of all, he walks, he's not on his property. He's on the dentist. So he's trespassing on the dentist property. He walks up and he just starts blistering me for shooting my gun on my property into a kind of it couldn't go. I had a backstop, a little berm, hay bales, those kind of things. So I wasn't going across anything. I was hitting the target. And, oh God, he just ripped me. And he called me, I can't say it, but let's just say he called me a goat effer. And I stood there for a second. And he goes, "You bunch of rednecks, you bunch of goat effers," like that. And I'm sitting there thinking, dude, that's brave. I'm sitting here with a high-powered rifle in my hand, and you were calling me that. Needless to say, I found out he was from Canada, and they moved about 2 months later. So I was like, dude, you're in the country. We shoot guns. Cryptids are real. Some of them probably exist. Silverback gorillas were cryptids and thought to be a myth at one point. Atlanta Outdoors, you're getting deep. You're getting deep on me. I didn't know that. Those shapeshifters you see, I see them on X all the time. People they want to believe in that. Okay, let me ask you this. If aliens were real, how would that change your beliefs? Um, you know what I'm saying? Some of you are churchgoers and all that. Would it change your beliefs or anything like that? I don't know that it would mind. Um, and again, I'm still wanting to know why we make them ugly. Think of Independence Day. They always look like cockroaches or lobsters on steroids. I mean, even Predator, when Predator came and was just slaying them, uh, he was obviously highly educated to have that command of the English language. Steve Sturgeon, listen, I've been called a lot of things in my life. My wife has probably called me more things than, enough to make a billy goat puke. But that's the only time in my life I've ever been called that. I was like, just kind of like, I didn't know whether to laugh. I wasn't mad, but I just like, really? But I was sitting there with a rifle in my hand, and he called me that like 4 or 5 times. And I just looked at him. I'm like, dude, you're like not even on your property. Why are you over there? And, but of course I was in the wrong according to him. But, why are aliens ugly? What happens if, I don't know, take the most beautiful woman in the world, whatever your choice of, or the most handsome man, if you're a female that actually watches this show. What if the most beautiful human was absolutely the most ugly, disgusting thing in the world to an alien? Because we think we're some good-looking people. But in the movies, the little gray men, think about that with the big old E.T. Look at E. We make them look like lizards, lobsters. These are the things I think about when I'm laying in bed. I live outside of Nashville, Houston. And is it Houston or Houston, Binkley? I'm going to say Houston until you tell me different. I live outside of Nashville. A lot of folks around here ain't from around here, same type of issues. And are the aliens living among us? If you could pick a celebrity right now who you think might be an alien, who would it be? Who would be your alien right now? A lot of very good-looking people are disgusting internally. That's true, Atlanta Outdoors. That's true. That's true. And beauty's only skin deep, right? Sometimes they say. I'm saying it right, so it's Houston. Good. If you could pick a celebrity who you think's an alien, who would it be? Would it be an athlete? Somebody that's got all-world, athletic skill? Somebody that's beautiful? Or how about our politicians? Is Donald Trump an alien? Huh? You think if he was an alien, he could dance a little bit better, right? You know what I'm saying? I'm curious to hear who you guys think would alien. If I had to pick some right now, Keith Richards, Dave Raleigh, that's good because Keith never dies. I mean, he really, think how many people he's outlived and the things he's done in his life. Think about that. That's actually an awesome choice. Keith Richards. Could Keith Richards be an alien? Good. Let's think of another one. Steven Tyler of Aerosmith. Just that big old mouth and everything. When he does his hair right, he kind of looks like Predator or some of them. I think it'd be an athlete or a politician. I really do think it. No, he's immortal. Yeah, it's true. My belief system says that we are created in the image of our creator. So if aliens are created in their creator's image, then we are all beautiful. See, that's the way I believe. I believe that, Stephen. But Stephen, if an alien, it's, we can say God created us in his image here on earth 100%. I like it. But there's nothing that says he couldn't create somebody on another planet or anything like that. So it wouldn't change my belief system. Dick Van Dyke, pulling out the old school stuff right there at Atlanta Outdoors. Dick Van Dyke, Tom Errico, Ron DeSantis wears elevator shoes and sits in a high chair. Might be a UFO. Might be a UFO. Dave Raleigh says it's getting deep in here. This is what we do. Dude was a Masked Singer at 98 and was bouncing around with ease. He was on the Masked Singer at 98. Listen, if I make it to 98, I don't know, man. I don't know. But that's good. I think LeBron's an alien. Were there any aliens at the Diddy parties? Think about that. Think about that for a second. So I don't know, but I'll lay in bed at night sometimes, and of course, you guys know I love X, Twitter, however you want to call it. And you really get some deep, weird conspiracy theory guys on there. I want my alien to look like Raquel Welch or Linda Ronstadt back in the day. Yes, sir. My dad loved Linda Ronstadt. In fact, he had some of her albums. I remember my mom probably still has them. Yeah, Linda Ronstadt. But Raquel Welch, that's top shelf right there. My wife might be an alien. I don't know. Who knows? I would say DeSantis wears elevator shoes. Hey, listen, he's short, sits in a high chair. Wow. If I make it to 98, am I going on Masked Singer? Listen, my dad, his two brothers, and his father. Now, he's also got three sisters, but every one of them got cancer or something at 59, 60, 61. And all of them passed away. Now, smoked and other things like that. So, I mean, if I make it to 62, guys, we're throwing a party. There is going to be one heck of a party going on. And we're going to have fun. That's all I got to say. But I'm built more like my grandfather on my mom's side, and he lived to almost 80. So that's what I'm hoping. But if I make it to 98, I'm not going to make it to 98. My wife's going to shoot me before then. There's no way. There's no way. Yeah, I mean, as much as I annoy her now and the looks that I get now, and she's 50, and you guys know about having a wife that's, well, some of you older guys might, when your wife 50, 55, 48, 55, you guys kind of know about some of the changes they go through. They love you one day, but you sleep with one eye open. You know what I mean? There's no way I'm going to make it to 98. It's not going to be, I'm not going to die of sun poisoning and skin cancer. This Copenhagen is not going to kill me. It's going to be my wife. There's no doubt about it. Oof, DP says. I love her, and I know she loves me. I know she loves me. But I'm 53, and my brain's still stuck on 18. There is no way in the world that is a good combination with a 50-year-old woman. Ain't going to happen. Ain't going to happen. So anyway, let's talk about just scoped up about 25 fish on Hartwell and called it quits for the day. All on a cast echo, Coleman Jones. Cast echoes, that's a legit bait. That's a legit bait for sure. Alex, there's Alex. So happy 4th. Alex, are you done with your parade over in Forsyth County right now? And also, Alex, since you're the skinny guy around here, if we do a hot dog eating contest on the live well, will you represent the skinny guys? The parade was a blast. I led our pack in the dually. So he works at what's the name of your company again, Alex? I know they build these high-end motors. So they do those kind of things. And Alex is very talented at what he does. A lot of race cars. I will win. Alex Purr says he will win. So I'm going to get did anyone see the General Lee jump the fountain in Somerset, Kentucky? I did. I also saw that landing. Even though he hit the fountain, he went through the fountain. That was great. The General Lee hit the asphalt on the other side, but it hit that wall. It did a little bit of damage to it. So I don't know. The Russian judge gives him a 7.8 on the landing. The American judge gives him a 9.5 on the entire effort. I thought it was pretty cool. I grew up watching the Dukes of Hazzard every Friday night. We had the exact same routine growing up in the 80s. My dad was a grocery store manager, so Friday nights was the night he closed. And so he didn't get off till like 10 or 11. So my mom would pick us up, and we'd get home from school, do some stuff. We'd go to the grocery store. We always got Stouffer's French bread pizzas. We'd come home. We'd cook them jokers up. We would watch the Dukes of Hazzard, me and my brother, and then my mom would watch Dallas. And then we would all, we'd end up falling asleep. But that was every Friday night for a while in the 80s. The Dukes of Hazzard and then Dallas. And hell, maybe Dynasty came on after that. I don't know. Mom had to have a night. She had to have some of her programming. Steven Sturgeon, I did just look up Justin Fighter and have started watching his jig fishing videos. Right there, seriously. Yeah, that's some good stuff. I'm actually going to watch some of his too. We talked about that last night on the live well because it was a jig episode, especially when it talks about throwing jigs in that snot grass that none of us know exactly what it is. But Fighter's got some good videos, and he cut his teeth on that. DP's Fishing Misadventures. Same here, them Daisy Dukes. I think Daisy Duke and Farrah Fawcett were the first crushes of just about every teenage boy back in the 80s at some point. We all had the Farrah Fawcett poster, and then Kathy Ireland came out with the Sports Illustrated stuff. So we all had them posters. I got the Farrah Fawcett poster in here that Big Al from the NPFL sent me. Who shot JR? Pontoon Jody catfishing. Who did end up shooting JR? Does anybody remember? That was big news back then. Late 80s and early 90s, we watched Tales from the Crypt. Yeah, you were a little bit younger than me, Alex, but I remember that. I had that old nasty rotten head skull looking thing. Is that what you're talking about? Does anybody remember who shot JR? Because we didn't have, we had Farrah up in our 6th grade classroom, DP's Fishing Misadventures. Where did you go to school, dude? Where did you go to school? We did not have that at Midway Elementary. What about Tales from the Hood, Philip Hutchinson? Yeah, it's one of them things. MTV had just come out. So we would watch that. If we stayed up late, we watched Headbangers Ball on Saturday night, right around midnight. You know, hear all the devil music that we weren't supposed to listen to. And you guys got to remember back in the 80s, we had, that was back when they tried to censor all the music. Okay, because we had, remember the 2 Live Crew came out? I'm not even going to sing the lyrics of the songs. But we all thought that. Remember, 2 Live Crew came out. They, Ozzy Osbourne. And you remember the guy from Twisted Sister. He actually went before Congress. Remember Al Gore's wife, Tipper? Tawny Katane and Whitesnake. Oh, I know. It was a dream, the whole JR dying. Was it a dream, Aaron Young? I don't remember. But I remember it was like when they cut that episode off, forever and a day, like until the next season. Till the next season came out. You go and all your National Enquirers and all your magazines were Who Shot JR? Dee Snider, that's right. Now, Pontoon Jody used to want to marry Grizzly Adams. I was like 6 years old. That's the name from the past. Kristen, his sister-in-law, shot JR, Steven Sturgeon said. I thought somebody did. It was big news. That just shows you how life in the 80s, you know, it was different. It was a different time back then. Thank God we didn't have cell phones. Because all the stuff that you see now, yeah, we were doing all that stuff. And you guys know we were. We just didn't have nobody recording it. We didn't have anybody recording it. And now a lot of people like to fuss at people when somebody gets in a fight. You got all these people recording it, and everybody's like, oh, they should break it up. If I remember correctly, when the fight happened in high school, pretty much we all just surrounded it. We didn't have cell phones. It was done so he could leave the show. He returned the next year. Okay. Have y'all seen the meme connecting the Bandit as Forrest Gump's dad? From Smokey and the Bandit? As Forrest Gump's daddy? No, I have not seen that. But considering that Sally Fields was his mama, hey, it makes perfect sense. You can get them conspiracy people out there believing that. So, you know, yeah, I mean, I haven't seen that one yet, Philip. I'll go look for that when I get off the air. I'd like to see that. Listen, Sally Field back in the day, she was cute. She was cute. But Pontoon Jody, Grizzly Adams, as a 6-year-old, you wanted to marry Grizzly Adams. Interesting choice for a 6-year-old is all I'm going to say right there. But I remember Grizzly Adams. Sally was a smokestack. Her, Linda Ronstadt, yeah. Hey, they were pretty women back in the 80s. But I have not seen that meme. This is how this show goes. We started off talking about, you know, aliens and Bigfoot. And now we're talking about, whatever the hell it is we're talking about. JR in Dallas. That was a big show back then. I remember before every Braves game, because Braves used to come on TBS. If you guys remember back in the day, hey, listen, we had Channel 2, 5, 11, 8. Yeah, of course, Sally Fields was in both. It's pretty funny. Pretty and Harry, LOL. Yeah, I guess Grizzly. I think you're talking about Grizzly Adams. I hope so. Channel 17, because that was TBS. 36, 8 was the public. We didn't have a lot of options. We didn't have a lot of options like you do now. So shows were like an event back in the 80s. Like 17 was TBS. Yes, yeah. My dad would watch the Carol Burnett show, Sanford and Son. Of course, everybody watched Andy Griffith. My dad loved MASH. We had to watch MASH. I'm not saying it was the best TV, but it was out there. But it was a different time back then. But like if somebody like JR, you had an episode like that of a big TV thing and TV show, and they ended it, it was high. It was big news. I loved watching him, and Wonder Woman was my favorite, said Pontoon Jody Catfishing. No comments on Wonder Woman. Linda Carter, she was a good-looking woman. Very good-looking. Remember the Bionic Man? We had that too. So services going in and out on the way home. Happy 4th, everyone. Y'all stay safe and enjoy your festivities, Alex. Hey, appreciate you, buddy. Gone Fishing with Ed. Hello, everyone. Happy 4th. So, Ed, you coming in? Yeah, we had 4 choices in Peoria, Illinois. There was not a lot. There was not. And then we got cable. And we got VCRs. So, my mom and dad got a VCR. And I had an aunt that owned a small movie rental place just north of Alpharetta. Me and my brother got in a fight one day because we were latchkey kids. Parents worked. We stayed at home. And or we got off the school bus and we didn't have parents until they got home from work. So me and Wesley, my brother, got in a fight. And I just remember throwing him kind of across the TV. And yes, the tinfoil had to be just right, 100%. And the VCR broke. So we broke the brand new VCR, which, again, back in the day, that was like technology. And so my parents were a little upset. But the same day that we broke it, my parents won another VCR in a raffle at the ballpark. So, of course, they made me and my brother work off paying to get the original VCR fixed. And then we had 2 VCRs. And my mom still has some of these tapes to this day. So we would go rent something from my aunt, and we would put it in one VCR, and we would record it on the other. I mean, we bootlegged. Todd Huntley from Lake Murray, happy 4th, over 23 today before lunch. Hell yeah, Todd. There you go. Please be kind and rewind, 100%. But we had all the movies. I bet we had 500 movies. I can't tell you how many times I saw Purple Rain and all that over and over and over again. I remember when cable was a box with a wire attached to it. 3 rows of channels with a selector on the left side to pick the row, buttons for each channel. Yeah. And you know what? The video game was Pong. You guys remember that? You young guys, I know y'all don't know what the hell I'm talking about, but Pong was a stick here and a stick here, and it was like table tennis. It was just table tennis. And that was highbrow entertainment. Cranking and yanking. How in the heck did I miss the jig episode? I don't know, Cranking. We did one for you, and we didn't even talk about forward-facing sonar, but for just a little bit. The Atari 2600. Yeah, we finally got an Atari, and we did that. Pitfall. That was my game back in the day. Pitfall. Evolve has some great sales on rod covers and power pole covers this weekend, says Ken. You guys, hey, yeah, if you want some Evolve rod sleeves, go on their website and get them. In television. See, we're showing our age. Cranking and yanking says I was on the lake getting rained on. Hey, but you was fishing. It's all good. You know you can go back and watch one of them later. You just can't fuss when they said forward-facing sonar. You couldn't fuss. We missed you last night during that segment. I was waiting for you to pop up, cranking and yanking, like, where's my man that is going to fuss about the forward-facing sonar? But you didn't show up, so we got away with it. Not a lot, though. We really didn't talk about it a lot. But we had Pong. Then I got the Atari. 13 years old, and my birthday was in March, and I remember I told my gone fishing with that. I missed last night too. That's okay, guys. Hey, we understand life. So anyway, I knew she got me a video game for the Atari, and I had asked for Pitfall, and it was on top of the refrigerator, and it was all taped up. And so, of course, I went in there when my parents weren't home, very carefully untaped the present. It was Pitfall. Took it out, played with it all day, loving life. Right before Mom got home, put it back in the thing, taped it back up, put it back on the daggone refrigerator. Perfectly, guys. I mean, I did everything perfectly. No way I was going to get caught. I don't know if my mom's got that sixth sense or whatever it is. I can just tell you guys, I got my ass beat because I snuck into my present. And then they threatened to take it back to the store. And I remember crying like, no, don't take my Pitfall. Don't take it. I just want to jump them damn crocodiles and over them pits and all that. But yeah, I was just a little shithead kid. How many people remember when all the TV stations shut down at 11 or 12 p.m., nothing but the test pattern till next morning? 100% Tim Hancock. I do remember that. I do. You just had them bars on the thing and all that. You're a few years older than me, not much, but I do remember that. Tom Erico, anyone fishing these cold fronts in June and July? Well, one come through down here when I was on Latham, and that's why we were kind of thinking about, and also with Underwood the other day, last Thursday. The top water, the top water that next day was dead. And when they would come up, we'd only see one, maybe two fish at a time. You didn't even really see the bait getting kicked out of the water. So we were talking about that, and Kevin said he thought it was this cold front coming in. But then that we fished in the morning, and I was with him till about 10:30. Then he dropped me off so I could come do the show. And then he went back out, and instead of going top water, that was the day he was catching them on a big flutter spoon. On his forward-facing sonar, you could see the fish lined up, and you would throw a top water over them or a Seville-style bait, and you would bring it, and those fish would not even react to it. And he was blaming the cold front. But as the day progressed, right after that, I was back here at the shop, he was sending me picture after picture after picture. He just ended up having to change his techniques. He went down with it. Ryan was talking last night about, and I don't know how much he does with cold front, but a lot of the bass around here, they're glued to the bottom. I mean, glued to the bottom. I remember seeing the national anthem play, Then Snow. Yeah, they used to play the national anthem. Cranking and yanking. I remember Pong. I had a VIC-20 computer when I was a kid, then a Commodore 64, the old Commodore 64. Our stations played the American Trilogy at the end of a daily broadcast, and Mike Geiger says, remember it well. Guys, think about how much has changed. And we could say that just in the last 5 years, but since we were in high school, I graduated in 1990. So all my formative years were in the 80s, which was really a decade. The music was a hell of a lot better back in the 80s. But just think about what we have now. I think they say there's more technology. If you guys believe we went to the moon, and I know there's some of you guys that don't believe it. I know some of you don't believe it because I've heard you guys say you don't believe it. I'm not here to argue that. But there's more technology in the cell phone that you're holding than in what we sent to the moon, if that was true. Think about that. Think about that. The TV. We've got so many channels. I mean, you can call it phone, boom, somebody on the other side of the world, 2 seconds. It's crazy where we came from. However, I think our life was a lot simpler back then. Parents smoked. We all were okay. Hell yeah, Charlie Daniels, Molly Hatchet, the Outlaws. So DP, I'm more of your hair band kind of stuff. Van Halen, and then anybody after Van Halen, that kind of stuff. Other than the Braves really sucked in the 80s. The Falcons weren't that good. So sports were not good to really, the 90s were the heydays for the Braves and up till now. But it was different. Had a party line on a rotary phone. Y'all remember that? Rotary phones, party line? Tom Erico, I love the show, Danny Pruitt, Catch a Bass. I might go fishing this weekend. I don't know. My latest video, basically a rant about technology, cell phones, and live scope. That's cranking and yanking. You codger from down there in Louisiana. Yeah, there was maybe 100 people in the stadium. You want to know? So I remember going to a Falcons game with my dad back at Fulton County Stadium. They were playing the Saints. True story. So nothing's changed for the Braves since the 80s. No, listen, they're having a bad year this year going fishing. Come on. They've been good. They're consistent. They're at least consistent. And the season ain't over with yet. Steven, be good. We'll talk to you. I'll see you on Monday. Fulton County Stadium was awesome. But here's my three memories from going to Fulton County Stadium. Every Braves game, my dad would leave in the 7th inning because, oh, Lord, we got to beat the traffic. Every freaking Braves game we ever went to, we had to leave early so that he could beat the traffic. And we would listen to Pete Van Wieren, Skip Carey, and all them on the radio on the way back. Pissed me off, but we did it. That's the way it was. We went and watched a Falcons Saint game. We had no longer sat down. The guys behind us were drunk as all get go already. And it was hot as hell. Early game, early in the year, September or something like that. Guy spilt beer all over me and all over my dad. And he was like, well, I would get mad, but it feels pretty good. I remember that. And then I had an uncle took me to a Braves game. And he wasn't all there in the head. So I had to drive him down there. And it was late in the game. It had a rain delay. The game went over extra innings. So there was like 22 people in the stadium. And somebody hit a home run. And this drunk guy down one section had nobody to high five. So he comes running up at my uncle. Full speed. And he goes to high five my uncle. My uncle ducked. Thought he was getting attacked. He thought his ass was getting whipped. And the guy's going, no, man, high five. I was dying laughing. What was your ring on a rotary phone? Well, I tell you what, and I know we're getting a little long in the program, but I worked for a place called Phillips, Brooks, and Gladwin in Forsyth County over the summer and they built all the pay phones back in the day. If you had a pay phone in the state of Georgia, they built it, including those ones down in the down in like the airport and all that. But I made one. I made that phone. It was touch dial had just come out, but it had the most extremely loud ring because it was one set for like the airport or something like that, where everybody could hear it. Well, back then, we didn't have call waiting or nothing like that, or your girlfriend would call. You only had one line, whatever the hell it was. But my friends would always call in the middle of the night, 11:30, 12 o'clock, whatever. My dad would be asleep because he had to get up and be at work 6 o'clock next morning. Guys, I used to get my ass just tore up because of that thing. Wireless portable phones were where you could take it to your neighbors. Yeah. I remember my first cell phone. In fact, it was one of those that came, you're talking 2000. No, it was earlier than that. I had one of the ones that was in a satchel. It had this zip up thing, and the phone had the cord on it. That was the very first one. We might still have it somewhere in the house. My dad worked for Western Electric. They used to make all the landline phones for those that know what that was. Western Electric, I've heard of it. But yeah, back in the day, bag phone, that's what I had. Now, it didn't have that big gaudy thing with the antenna on the end of it that you see some of the earlier guys got. It was a regular looking phone with a black cord, and inside that bag phone, you just press the button and all that. That's a collector's item if you have that phone, Danny. I think we do got it. It's somewhere up in the attic. I'll have to check. But in my kitchen right now, my wife's got a rotary phone. Now, it is a rotary, but it's got all the new modern stuff so that it can actually be used, and it's got a cord that's about 25 foot long. Why in the hell she wanted it, I don't know, but we got shiplap and stuff in the kitchen, so I guess she thought it was old farmhouse-looking stuff. So anyway, we didn't much talk fishing, but that's about it. So I tell you what, guys. So listen, first of all, it is the 4th of July. It's Independence Day. We need to be thankful that we live in a country, and it's not perfect, and we don't all get along, but we live in a country where I can come sit at a shop, hit a couple cameras, press a computer, and I can talk to you guys every single day about whatever it is we want to talk about. When I leave here, I can get in the car, go to the store, go home, we may not be totally free like we want to be, but we're free. So we should be thankful that we live in a country where we can do the things that we do. You're smoking a butt tomorrow, DP's Fishing Adventure. Hey, listen, special shout out to Fishers of Hope. They brought us up barbecue, a big old thing of macaroni and cheese last night. And when I got in this morning, guys, it like we had a frat party in here. I spent 15, 20 minutes picking up beer cans and paper plates and all that. Oh, kiddo's coming over for gumbo. Dude, Dave Aldridge. Now, I haven't eaten his gumbo yet, but his crawfish etouffee, holy Toledo. I love Cajun food, dude. I like gumbo. I haven't had Dave's yet, but his crawfish etouffee and his jambalaya are legit. Starting to feel like fluoro is a scam. Did a side-by-side comparison, 6 and 8 pound mono. Mono caught more fish. Atlanta Outdoors. When we had Will Harkins on the show, and he was saying that he just uses Berkeley big game, I actually took my jig rod and I put mono on it. And I still fish mono, and I can't tell a difference. Now, I don't fish jigs enough, but when I do, I'm throwing it on mono. So, and how many fish were caught on mono before fluoro came out? I'm not saying it's a scam. And I'm not saying like in certain lakes, really, really clear water. But I think it was Ken Pruitt. If it wasn't Ken, it was somebody else here yesterday. We got talking about it. I think it was Ken. We were talking about, think about an A-rig. Think about an A-rig. All that metal coming off, and fish are still hitting it. Does it really matter that much? Now, it does sink better. You're right. It does help light stuff sink better. But does it really matter? Think about an A-rig. Think about that. Straight guys throwing straight braid. A lot of your reaction stuff, I don't think it matters. I think it's what you're comfortable with and what you can afford. But look at it this way. More fish. Okay, Phil says more fish caught on braid style lines before mono. The world record bass was caught on old types of line, for example. I had a great uncle that used to have this black line. He called it catgut. And it was like almost a braided black kind of line, real thick. Now, it's been 30, 40 years since I've seen it with my own eyes. But I know he throws that type of stuff. So you're right. You're right. But anyway, guys, look, hey, you guys on TikTok, sorry about not cutting the mics on. I'm learning. And not being able, if you guys had comments and all that, not being able to answer, I'm going to get something fixed up where I can actually read your comments. But you guys, all of you, if you're going out on the water this weekend, for God's sakes, be careful. There's a lot of people on the water that shouldn't be on the water this weekend. $2.30 Zebco line with a good drag is hard to beat for my cheap ass. Atlanta Outdoors, more fish have been caught on a Zebco 33 probably than any other reel out there, because that's all my dad would throw. And that's all I was allowed to throw till I was able to buy my own. But anyway, you guys have a great weekend. Be safe. If you're shooting off fireworks, don't hit each other. Enjoy your day off, but remember what it's for. And probably Tuesday or Wednesday before I can tune back in DP. Hey, that's all right. Just come back when you can. And that micro 33 is solid too. But everybody stay safe. I'm getting ready to shut down everything. I'm going to go to the house and enjoy my family and my weekend. And we will see you Monday at 12 o'clock back here. And we'll talk about whatever the hell happened over the weekend. So you guys be good. Love you guys. We'll see you on the next one. And I get to hit my buttons.